Hi, it's Kim, and I'm back for another week of 10-minute tips for your relationships. 10 minutes. So, this week's episode is relationship stuff is private, it's personal, and it needs to be protected. Yes, that's really important. I know many of us have family and friends that we're used to confiding in, we're used to telling all our deepest and darkest secrets. But once you marry someone, you get into a committed relationship, that's a no-no. You should not be sharing that type of information with your family and your friends, even your coworkers. I'll go another step further, even your church family. No, relationship stuff is personal, it's private, and it needs to be protected. Let me ask you a question. Do you share your relationship woes with your family or your friends? Sometimes we're used to just sharing information with people that maybe we trust or maybe we're just used to talking to. But when you get into a marriage or a committed relationship, that can get sticky. So, there have been times where we thought we were just venting, maybe complaining, sharing or requesting information, but it's hard for people who are close to you to really deal with that. So we have to be careful when we consider ourselves reaching out to our family or our friends with our relationship woes. That can turn into a disaster. Do you come from a tight-knit family? I have a tight-knit family. I love my family. We're very, very close. But when I say a tight-knit family, I mean a family who is involved in every area of everyone's life. Does your family resemble that family? When we're talking about relationship stuff being personal, private, and being protected, we have to be very careful with our tight-knit family. I love my family. I even have a family that I created just for myself, my family. But I have to be careful with my family, and I have to be careful with what I share with my family. There are also families that are so tight that they feel entitled to know certain things about relationships. Be careful with that. That is something that can turn into a whole gamut of problems and issues in your relationship when it comes to the trust. I'm thinking if I come over to a family member's home and they already know what's going on in my household, that's going to break down the trust in my relationship. So you have to be careful with that. The boundaries for your relationship have to be created by you. You set the rules. The rules have to be set for you. You can't allow your spouse, your mate, to be bullied by your family. Oh my goodness. And this happens all the time with tight-knit families. So be careful with that. Making sure that you set the boundaries, you set the rules, and you are the one who's protecting your spouse. Let me go a little deeper with that. Whenever there's an issue or a problem with the family member of the spouse, it is up to that person to deal with their own family member. Never send your spouse, your wife, your husband, your significant other in to deal with your family. No, that's your job. When you leave the nest, meaning when you get married, you move out, you set up household with someone, you need to do that not just physically, but emotionally. Yes, You have to leave and cleave. That's right. You and your mate, you need to have a boo unit. That's what you guys need to do. You need to become a boo unit. Hey, I've been in a boo unit for the last 35 years, and there is nothing like it. Your mate needs to know that you have their back. That's right. You need to show up as a team. That's right, a team. I remember years ago, my father-in-law, God rest his soul, he's passed on, but he always complimented my husband and I about how we could just have a conversation between the two of us. We can be in a room full of people, but guess what? He said he would usually find us in the corner just chit-chatting, having a good conversation. That's how you have to get in there and dig and develop your relationship, talking and communicating, and guess what? Enjoying one another. Yes, there's nothing like enjoying your mate. So, if you're going to create this boo unit, that means you have to be selective of who you accept your advice from. That's right, you just can't take advice from anybody. I mean, everyone's advice doesn't work for everyone. So you have to be selective of who you receive information from as it relates to relationships. I want you to keep this in mind. Relationships are designed, or they were designed. God created relationships to be exclusive. And I'm not just talking about sexually. I'm talking about relationally. Yes. There shouldn't be me, you, and my sister in our relationship business. No, that's exclusive for me and my mate. Others don't belong in there. So, like I said, going back to the boundaries, yes, you have to set clear, concise boundaries for family, for friends, just for people in general. Don't share your information with everybody. We put a heavy responsibility on our family and our friends when we expect them to be able to hear about our relationship woes, listen, and listen without judgment, listen with empathy, listen with compassion, because guess what? Your family is more than likely going to take your side. Yeah, they are. I mean, think about it. I was a daddy's girl. And I know for sure if I were to share something about my marriage or my relationship with my father, he would be like, hey, what's going on? What's going on with my daughter? So, we can't put that expectation and we can't put that burden on our families. We can't put that burden on our family members to listen and not take sides. I mean, it can happen, but it's the exception and not the rule. Let me give you some final thoughts. We can be a lot. I know I can. I can be a lot. And in a relationship, sometimes we tend to be a lot, especially when it comes to having issues and problems and our struggles that you're going to have in a relationship. Sometimes we can be selfish. We can be spoiled. Yes, we can be combative. And sometimes we can just be outright dramatic. So these are some things that I want you to consider as it relates to your relationship, it being personal, it being private, and you being the one to protect it. Number one, when dealing with issues and problems, don't over-exaggerate. Yeah, just state the facts. Don't get into dramatics. Try to stay out of your feelings, because we can get in our feelings. So try to stay out of your feelings. Stay out of your feelings. Number two, take some time to cool off. Yes, take a breath. Take a breather. Go for a walk. Get a cup of water. Take some time to think, to pray, to contemplate, and maybe come back to the situation with some solutions. Number three, seek help from a trusted friend, a mentor, a counselor, maybe even your pastor. Number four, Go to counseling if you need to. Look, there's nothing wrong with counseling. Sometimes it's beyond our pastor. Sometimes it's beyond our friends or even our mentor. We need to seek professional help. And number 5, don't act on impulse. Look, do not wag that D word around, divorce. Yes, that's not a good thing. Don't wag that around. Just make sure that you're not acting on impulse, making sure that you're not in your feelings. So whatever you do, do it. Whether it's that walk, that cup of coffee, that glass of water, that breather, do whatever you need to do, because your relationship is personal, it's private, and it needs to be protected. These are my 10-minute tips. You take care, and please stay safe.